Hey there, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it is your first time here. My name is Erin and today's video is all about the activewear that I've been sewing over the summer and my experience with sewing activewear. I'm going to go through all of the patterns I've made, and then I am going to just share a couple tips and tricks that I have learned from the different patterns and as I've worked with these different athletic fabrics. If you are intimidated by sewing activewear but want to give it a go, if you have sewn activewear and just want to hear my experience with these patterns, or if you're just kind of curious about it in general, then this is the video for you. If you do enjoy it, I hope you hit the like button, and if you are not a subscriber, I hope you consider subscribing before you click away from this video. Okay, let's get started. Earlier this year in the spring, I was gifted some activewear patterns, and sewing activewear had not been on my radar previously, like maybe niggling a little bit in the back, but was not something that I was really seriously considering. I was really happy with my activewear wardrobe at the time. But I was gifted two of the patterns I was gifted specifically were these two from Jalie, which I'll talk about. I really liked the skirt, and I really liked this tank top with a built-in sports bra. And I did have a tank top with a built-in sports bra from Fabletics that was just nearing the end of its life. It needed to be done, but I liked it so much that I didn't want to get rid of it yet. And that is part of what kind of inspired me to be like, oh, well, I can make it myself. Like, I have a pattern right here. It's doable. Then I really started looking at my activewear, and a lot of it was from Fabletics because I used to have the subscription years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, I think is when I canceled it. And almost all of that I had donated or thrown away over the years because it was just worn out and done for. So as I started to look at my remaining activewear that I thought I was really happy with, I noticed that I actually wasn't all that happy with a lot of it, and a lot of it was at the end of its life, and I was just holding on to it because I didn't have better options. And I don't like shopping. I just don't like shopping. Even before I started sewing my own clothes, I just don't really enjoy the shopping experience. I was even more motivated to start sewing some things that I specifically wanted, and different looks that I wanted, and functionality that I wanted out of my activewear. And I was encouraged by the friend that sent me these to do it. She sews her own activewear and was like, you can do it. So I did, just to kind of gauge where I'm coming from, let you know where I'm coming from in terms of what I'm wearing this clothing for. I am primarily a runner. I am in marathon training right now for my second marathon. So I mostly run. I do some HIIT and I do some strength training because it's good for you as a runner, but like mostly I'm out there running. And I like medium support, medium compression. I used to think I liked really high compression, but over the past couple of years, I've found that it's actually just uncomfortable to me, and I don't like the trying to pull off a sweaty, tight sports bra. So I like to go for medium compression. That also does include in my waistbands and stuff. I don't like anything that is like squeezing me in or sucking me in. I try to focus on keeping my core tight myself, and I find that the like squeezing in kind of makes me a little lazy in that regard. So medium compression and medium support is what I like. The first pattern is the Jalie Pika, I think is how it's pronounced, Pika or Pika. I think it's the Pika. It is a sports bra and layered tank. It is 17 Canadian dollars, which with the current exchange rate is about 13 US dollars for the PDF. It is also available printed. I have the printed ones that someone kindly sent me. They're a little more expensive for the printed ones, but if you don't want to have to buy it PDF and then pay to have it printed, or use your own ink to have it printed, it kind of comes out about the same. And you can get it from the Jalie website, but also there are other retailers that carry Jalie patterns. What's really, really cool about Jalie patterns is they have a huge size range. There are 27 sizes. It starts at about a 2-year-old, which the measurements, I have a 2-year-old, the measurements are her measurements, so I think that's pretty accurate. It starts at 2 years old and then goes up into women's sizing. So for this one specifically, the bust sizes go from 21 inches girls chest to 50-inch women's full bust. So you could use it for someone's whole life, basically, which is really, really cool. It is a sports bra with a tank built in and with a bottom band, or just the sports bra, or this is not specifically in the instructions, but it does have a picture of it on the front, just a hemmed tank top, which is what I chose to do. It has really good color blocking opportunities as they show on here. You know, she has multiple different fabrics involved, and then even with just the sports bra, you can do something different for this yoke. So I think that's really cool. I made a size Z. It is a company that does not use your traditional numeric sizing. So they have everything from a size F is where it starts to a double F. So I sewed a size Z. My measurements will be down below. Now I made these over multiple months, but I am still wearing them all and they all fit. So I will put my current measurements. I used yoga fabric from Gail K Fabrics in Atlanta. It was literally just labeled like yoga pant fabric. And I also used Polar Grid, Polar Tech, I don't remember what it was called. I got it in a mystery bundle from Fabric Mart Fabrics. It is actually what I'm wearing right now. So this is the yoga fabric. And then this is the grid, the Polar Tech grid. That's the back and that's the front. The Polar Tech or Polar Grid stuff is nice and lightweight and flows really well. And then the yoga fabric feels pretty thick, but when I'm running it and stuff, it doesn't feel too heavy. I did also put power net in the sports bra part, like the main part of it, but I didn't put it in the yoke, which was a mistake because I did not realize how far down this yoke comes. Like this is my nipple line. This is the yoke. So really to have good support, I needed it to be included in this whole yoke also. I was honestly just trying to save some of the power net because these pieces, this piece is really large. It goes all the way around to the back. So I was just trying to save some power net. I ran in it today. I did intervals and it was fine. Like I didn't feel unsupported at all, but definitely in a next version, I think I would like a little more support. For the instructions, they were really good overall, but there's one step that's incredibly confusing. And I honestly don't know if I would have figured it out had I not found a sew along from, I believe it's Rachel from Stitched Up. I will link it below. She also says the step is confusing, but she figured it out and then showed how it's supposed to work. So the part is taking the seam allowance from where you connect the yoke to the rest of the sports bra and sewing those seam allowances together internally. So it's before you put the elastic in the bottom and close it up, you go internal to the bra and you take just those seam allowances and sew them together. Not only was it confusing to figure out from the instructions that that's what you're supposed to be doing, but it was also really difficult to execute. And I think there's a better way to do it, but I did not manage to execute it well. Basically, you have to sew as far as you can up. I got pretty far up this side by doing kind of a weird burrito roll thing, but I only got to here on this side, and I think most people wouldn't notice, but to me it's very noticeable since I know that's what happened. And there's like this weird bulge because these two seam allowances are not together. Other than that, the construction was fine. Like I said, I did not do the band at the bottom. I did a rolled hem on my serger and that worked out really well. Totally fine. I will say I don't wear it a ton, but that is because it's been super, super hot where I live. And when I run outside, I do prefer to just wear a sports bra or a crop top with shorts or a skirt or something, and just not have this extra layer. It's very flowy, but not having it is cooler. Like I said, I did wear it today. I have worn it to run indoors and find is totally fine. I will wear it more as the weather cools down, and I definitely want to make the sports bra itself again with doing some color blocking and probably the tank top again in the future. But overall, good pattern, except for that one really, really confusing step, but now you know, and I will link the sew along down below. The next pattern I want to talk about is the Jalie Loulouxe. It's a skirt. The two options it has are either the shorts being banded, which is the option where you also have pockets. You can do it one side or both, or just hemmed. The way it's constructed, if you just do the hemmed version, you can't put pockets in. I mean, I'm sure you could find a way to do it, but it is not designed to be done that way, so there are not instructions for it to be done that way. Also, you could make just the shorts if you wanted to. This is Jalie, so again, it is available PDF on their website or printed from their website or others. The PDF is the same price as the Pika. It is about $13 US. 27 sizes are included, which again is just crazy. It goes from 20 inches girls waist to a 44-inch women's waist. It does have a gusset, which is nice for more mobility and things like that, a crotch gusset. And it has really good color blocking opportunities again, especially here you can see the version the model's wearing here. This flounce is cool because, as you can see from the line drawings, it goes all the way across the back. This is on the grain, but it's a big like curved piece. So as you get to the top part when you cut it, which then becomes the side part that wraps around, if that makes sense. I guess I could just say it like, this is the grain, you cut a big piece like this. This upper part then is on the cross grain. So it is really interesting to look at. It gives a beautiful drape. It is a flouncy flounce. I really, really, really enjoy running in this. I did make the version with the banded legs and the pockets. Don't use the pockets that much, just kind of annoying to have to lift a skirt and put something in there. I never really put things in those pockets when I run anyway. I find it kind of annoying. I made a size AA for this one. I used the same fabrics as for this Pika. I think I've said the name of that pattern differently every time I've said it. What I really, really loved about this is that it had a good explanation about why you why you don't want to put elastic into the seam as you're sewing the seam. And I found that to be something really important to have explained to me when I was making this activewear, because it's annoying. So most of these patterns, the better ones, the good ones in my opinion, will have you sew the seam and then attach the elastic to the seam allowance and not into the seam, so that you don't have any weird ridges with the clear elastic. The elastic is important to help maintain the shape and everything, since this clothing is very stretchy and it's gonna be moving a lot with you. To help everything maintain its shape, you do want that elastic in there, but to help it look neat, you need to attach it to the seam allowance and not into the seam. So this Jalie pattern had a good explanation of how to do that and why to do that. It did also have a technique for sewing everything without a serger, which I think is really nice, because I know my biggest concern with activewear was like, will it hold up? You know, I don't want to be mid squat and things start popping. So I did like that it had that technique. It was a good technique, has to do zigzag and stuff. If you get the pattern and you don't have a serger, just know you will have a good way to execute a really solid piece of activewear. I wanted to construct it using a flat lock to make it look more athletic. So I did it on the shorts first, and there was no point in which you could try on the shorts basically until right before you put the bottom bands on. You have to put everything together. I tried it on, and when I say these seams busted, I had to remake the shorts basically. Because of that experience, I did buy the Styla Boulder leggings over Labor Day. I've not made them yet, but I bought them because they have a tutorial for sewing the seams with a flat lock, and they have instructions for it because you use a different seam allowance, which I didn't know. So I'm looking forward to making those and reporting back about that experience. But I did try to do the flat lock on my serger, and it was kind of a huge disaster, but I think I know what I did wrong now. A lot of things. But the pattern itself is great, and I run in that skirt all the time. Like as soon as it's out of the wash, I am wearing it for my next runs. Okay, there was a brief intermission to go put the toddler to sleep, so I just came out of a dark room. I'm very sleepy. Anyway, next up we have the Made for Mermaids Lulu, also called the Lulu sports bra, longline crop and top. It's $12 US, PDF only, and it comes in 12 sizes. The sizes are gray to navy. I love it. They use colors instead of numerical sizes, so I think that's really cool. It covers a full bust from 30 inches to 60 inches. The couple of the options are that you can have a high scoop or soft V neck, different length options, and then some of those options can be banded or hemmed. I, once again, did that yoga fabric the first time I made it, well, the only time I've made it. And then I did put power net in the front of it, but the front piece does go all the way up to the shoulder seams. I did the high scoop neck, so it has really good chest coverage, which is good for running because I like sweat my sunscreen off all of the time. I need to get a better sunscreen, as you can tell. So I like that it has that good sun coverage when I'm out running. And I initially did the banded long line in a size yellow, but the band was basically right under the bust, but it was just really, really tight. Like really tight. I felt like I couldn't breathe when I put it on. I felt like I couldn't expand my lungs completely, which is not great when you're running. You want to be able to do that. So that was really tight, but then the neckline felt loose and the whole thing just didn't really feel supportive enough. The first time I ran with it and the only time I ran with it in that configuration, I wore a sports bra underneath because it did not feel supportive enough. So I went down to a size green and I made it just the sports bra. So basically I went down a size and everything. And then I took that band that was longer and just followed the instructions to make it into a sports bra, which basically just meant making that smaller as an elastic casing and putting elastic in it. The banded version of the long line did not have any elastic in it from what I remember. That I like way more. I wear it all of the time. Like I said, I really like the coverage it gives on my chest. It's very supportive, very comfortable. The instructions were great. There is like a whole page dedicated to the whole sewing elastic onto the seam allowance topic. It tells you what the result will be if you do it different ways. Because it says like, well, you can attach it while you're serging your seam, but then it's going to look like this. If you wait till after, it'll look like this. And throughout all of the instructions, there was a lot of mention of like what result you will get if you choose to do certain things, choose to do them or not do them. For example, it talks about understitching. It was like, if your neckband is looking floppy at this point and you didn't understitch, go back and understitch because that'll fix it. So I think it was really, really good at highlighting why you want to make certain decisions and what the result is going to be if you don't do certain things, which was really helpful. It was one of the first patterns I sewed. I sewed it at the same time as the Lulu skirt. Those were the first two things I sewed. And so it gave me really, really good understanding of why things will impact or how things will impact your finished garment, which I really, really like understanding. It also had instructions for how to make a removable cup opening, which I liked and have used in other garments. And it did have separate pieces for the lining, which is like kind of annoying to have to cut out a whole different piece or print out a whole different piece, however your process goes. But it was a little annoying to have a whole separate piece. All of the others, if anything was lined, it used the same pattern piece for the main, but it was just a hair smaller, which meant I got a really, really clean, polished finish. It pulled that main fabric in just a little bit, especially combined with the understitching. And I love how polished and clean it looks as compared to some of my other garments that did not have a separate piece for the lining. So I really, really liked that. I do want to make some of the hemmed options. I don't think I'll be trying any of the banded options again, just because of how tight they were. I know I could grade out or figure out what my issue is with that, but I'd rather just make the hemmed versions or the sports bra version. I'm perfectly happy with that. Next, I have the Greenstyle Stride Athletic Tights. I have made the shorts length twice. I have not made any of the longer lengths yet. It is $12 US, PDF only, sizes B through M. Once again, no numbers. I love it. It covers a 22 to 57 inch waist. They also have mid-thigh and calf measurements, which I think is really, really cool because I have pretty small calves, like proportionately to the rest of my leg and the rest of my body. I just genetically have tiny calves. No matter how many calf raises I do, they don't get bigger. So I'm really excited to make some of the longer ones and see if I am like, have to go down a size, grade down a size for my calves and get a better fit, because I do tend to have issues with ready to wear leggings. I like kind of a 3/4 or a capri length in my leggings, and they do tend to gape around my calf. They tend to like be open and not be tight because I have really tiny calves. So I'm super excited to see how that plays out. Some of the options, side inserts, which you can put a pocket in. I haven't made them because the shorts are like a little too short to have that pocket in there, but apparently can hold an iPhone. Which generation of the iPhone, I don't know, but it says they can hold an iPhone. There are lots of waistband options. This is what really drew me to this pattern. It has mid-rise or high-rise waistband that's more straight across, but then it has high or ultra high-rise contoured waistband. In all of those, you can have a hidden waistband pocket if you want to put an ID or something in there. Also, you can do a crotch gusset. It has like a cross cuff detail if you want to do that option. And then there are multiple lengths. There are shorts, capri, cropped, long, or extra long. So if you're tall, these could be a really good option for you. I did a size G, could probably go down to an F, but I've made a G twice and I'm not upset about it. So that's fine. If I wanted a little more support and then depending on a fabric choice, I could go down to an F and be fine. I did the shorts both times. The first time I did that yoga fabric and I did the ultra high rise contour waistband. Now it is basically to my ribs. Like it is ultra high rise. I don't mind it, but I did choose to go down the next time I made it. They feel almost like maternity bottoms in that regard. The second time I used Serge Fabrics Athletic Brushed Poly 265 GSM in the color Sunshine. That was my contrast panel. That is a really fun thing about these is it does have that contrast panel that goes across the backside and then back down the side. And then the main of the shorts, the main fabric of the shorts was also from Serge Fabrics. It was an Excel ATY nylon in ink navy. For that one, I did just the high-rise contour waistband and I definitely preferred that height. For both of the contour waistbands, you can put elastic in them, but you do not need to. I chose not to in either and I've had no issues with them staying up. Also, a lot of these, when I'm talking about elastic, I'm not talking about your traditional, like what you might think of as elastic. I'm not talking about anything like this. I'm talking about clear elastic, usually like 3/8 of an inch, half an inch, maybe 5/8 of an inch, depending on the pattern and the placement. But I'm not talking about this. So you're not having this big thing of elastic across your waistband. It's just a thin, clear elastic that you don't even really notice. Regardless, I chose not to do that, not to add the elastic into it, and I've had no issues with them staying up. These shorts were an easy sew, quick to make up. I made these shorts and then a top I'm going to talk about later in about 3.5 hours one afternoon. They'd already been cut out, but I sewed them both up pretty quickly and then went and ran in them. I was procrastinating my run by sewing for the run. The instructions were good. I didn't have any questions at any point. That being said, I did not put the hidden pocket in or the side pockets. So I didn't really look at those instructions too closely. And then also the cross cuff would maybe be a point that would have some like head scratching moments, but I did not look at those instructions. I can't say that they're gonna be confusing. Based on my experience with the rest of the pattern, I think it's just fine. They were really, really straightforward. Everything matched up really well, really nicely. Yeah, fun to sew. I do want to make longer lengths, not just the like actual leggings, but I do want to make longer shorts. I intended, when I made my second pair, I intended to cut them longer and then have a deeper hem to see if that would help with holding them down when I ran, but I forgot and cut them the short length. I could put a band on. I have thought about that because the shorts on the Lulu skirt tend not to ride up too badly, but they are made of the yoga fabric, and my first pair of shorts is first pair of stride shorts is also made of the yoga fabric, and they do not ride up as badly as the ones made from the Serge Fabrics ATY. So I think it might also be a fabrication issue. That being said, shorts always ride up on me when I run. It's just the way my legs are. If they didn't, I would be shocked. That is my long-term goal, is to find some length and fabric combination that don't ride up, but I'm not holding my breath. It's just anatomy, you guys. It's just my legs. I have thought about doing a deeper hem or putting a band on the bottom to help with that, but I've run in them multiple times since I made them, and it, like both pairs, I run in them all the time, and it doesn't bother me enough to do much about it. Now we have the Love Notions Clearwater Summer Essentials. This is a bundle, basically. Included in this are a tennis dress, a tankini top, briefs, bike shorts, and sports bra. It is $12.50, PDF only. The sizes are extra small to 5X. That's a 33-inch full bust to 57.5 inches, and then 35.5 to 59.5 inch hips. The first time I made it, I made the dress and the bike shorts in a medium to heavyweight cotton spandex jersey. Definitely not activewear fabric. I just made it more of as athleisure. I ran it once to see if I liked it before I used some of my really nice serge fabric to make another version, but that's it. Other than that, I've only worn it athleisurely because it's not activewear fabric and would not hold up to that rigor. So the version I made for realsies for running was the dress only. I used the XL ATY nylon and ink navy. Kind of a boring sew, but functional. It filled a gap in my wardrobe. I wanted something that could go like from story time at the library to running, and it does that. I've used it multiple times for those situations and always feel good in it. I did a very thorough review on the Clearwater in its own video, so that will be linked, and you can know my full thoughts on the pattern there. I do have a lot of thoughts, and then at the end of that video I do have a tutorial on how you can add the inserts for removable cups. The last one, you guys. This is the Styla La Jolla crop top and dress. I want to be very, very clear that this is not intended to be activewear. It's not specifically designed as activewear. However, a lot of the pictures, or a fair amount of the pictures that are on the website from the testers, do show it worn as a crop top in kind of athletic outfits, like with leggings and stuff like that. So while it is not marketed as activewear or necessarily intended to be activewear, I do think they send the message that it can be used as activewear through those pictures. It is $10.95 US dollars, PDF only. It goes from a 0 to a 32, which is a 31.5 inch full bust to 59 inches. You can do the crop top or the dress with 2 lengths. I made the crop top because I was making it activewear. Although I could run in a dress like that. I don't know, it's a pretty full skirt. I made a size 14. This is where I really wanted to emphasize that it is not intended as activewear because I really needed to size down. And from what I could tell, there were no finished garment measurements, which I get. A lot of these did not have finished garment measurements, and that makes sense because the fabric you choose is going to make such a big difference. So I went with a size 14 based off of my measurements, but because I was making it activewear, I really should have sized down at least like a size, maybe 2, just to have a more negative ease. That's what I need. I need more negative ease. Now I have run in it and it's fine, but I don't love it. I used the Serge Athletic Brushed Poly 265 GSM in Sunshine, so it's a very fun yellow crop top. What I really like about this one is the fun crossover. That's what drew me to it. I wanted some sports bra top crop tops, like all in one situations, not having to wear a sports bra and something over it. And like I mentioned with the heat here, I do like to run in a crop top or something that does not cover too much of my skin because that sweat needs to evaporate as much as it can to help cool me down. Science. The La Jolla was really fun to sew together. The crisscross was super neat. I will say my serger could not handle when I was putting it together towards the end because you have 2 layers for each of the crisscrosses. They're basically sewn as tubes. So at 2 points on the sides, you have 2 layers from each of the crisscrosses, so 4. Then you have your lining for the front and your lining for the back, and then I had power net in the front. So it was going through 9 layers, and my poor little brother 1034D could not handle it. I don't blame it. I don't blame it at all. So I sewed it on my sewing machine using a stretch stitch, and it was fine and it held up. I've been wearing it for a couple weeks now. I've worn it to run multiple times, washed it multiple times. It's holding up just fine. Also, I think something to do with the fact that it's not designed as activewear is it did not have any instructions to put elastic in the neck or the arm sides, but I did go ahead and do that to help it maintain its shape. People with more experience than me, is there a reason that you wouldn't want to do that if you were making it just as like a plain old dress. If you were making this as a dress out of, say, jersey, why would you not put elastic in? Because you're not gonna be moving as much or sweating as much? I don't know, I'm not 100% sure of that answer. But because everything else I had done had me put elastic in, basically, I chose to do that. And it has not caused any issues. And I think it does help maintain the shape of everything. So yeah, besides going down a size or so, maybe 2, I really do like it. The crossover is giving me more support than the elastic. So underneath the crossover, there is elastic sewn into the front of it. And my elastic is all bunched up. Like it's not stretched out at all. I think I need to go back in and shorten the elastic, and that would help the situation. But I followed the instructions, used the size of everything that they told me to, because since it was only elastic in the front, I was like, I'm not really sure how to figure out how much I need. There is way too much elastic and I need to take some out if it's gonna help support anything at all. But even without having done that, I've run in it and it's not that big of a deal. There are a couple of things I have learned going through all of these, things that I've pulled either from pattern instructions of various patterns or learned through trial and error. So I'm just gonna give you a quick rundown to hopefully give you a leg up when you start sewing your own activewear, because you can do it, I believe in you. Number one thing that I noticed is that most of the instructions had me pre-stretch elastic. Once again, I'm talking about that clear plastic elastic. And it makes a huge difference. Like, it makes a huge difference. I went to cut one at one point, but then I was like, oh, I need to pre-stretch. So I already had like my hands on the length I needed, and I stretched it and I laid it back down and added like 3/4 of an inch. So that's pretty significant. So definitely pre-stretch your elastic, and then all of the information of how to attach your elastic to the seam allowances instead of into the seams made a huge difference. One important thing is that I had to think about ease in an opposite way, and I'm very much still like working on this in my brain, because typically when I'm thinking about ease in most garments, I'm thinking about positive ease. But in these garments, it's all about the negative ease. And I just have not, like, I need to learn how to switch gears in my brain to be like, oh, I need more negative ease. Because typically negative ease is not something I want. Even in my t-shirts and stuff, I don't like tight t-shirts. So I would not want negative ease in them. But with these garments, I do need the negative ease more. So I need to switch that in my brain. And the other thing I need to work on is like figuring out a concept and learning through experience by how much different fabrics will impact my finished garment measurements and then the fit in general. But that's still a work in progress. Change needles and blades frequently. I found myself needing to change my needles and like the blade on my rotary cutter more frequently than most other garments I sew. And I assume it's because of all the spandex in the fabric. I'm not 100% sure. That's my assumption, because that's the biggest difference, is that there's a lot of spandex in these. And I guess nylon in some of them. But yeah, just a lot of, and even like the blades on my serger, I changed them at one point. They probably need to be changed again because I've been sewing a lot of this stuff. And I do find that to be important. The next thing I need to explore before I make these, or when I make these Styla Boulder leggings, is different types of thread that are more specific and more durable for these garments. So that'll be the next learning thing. Burrito roll everything. You can burrito roll basically anything. All of these like sports bras and stuff and how they're lined, most of them are constructed by burrito rolling the heck out of everything. And you can get almost an entire thing put together just by like rolling it all artfully and then having to sew up just a small portion. So I learned a lot about burrito rolling and like helped my brain understand more of how that works beyond just a yoke on a button-down shirt. The slightly smaller lining makes things so much neater, and it's something I had heard before, but then to see it executed in the Lulu sports bra versus the other garments, like, it really does make a huge difference. The slightly smaller lining and the understitching are things that I think I'm gonna start applying in other garments, even if the instructions don't tell me to. And overall, sewing activewear is not that difficult and it's really fun. I have found it very fun. I've made some pretty boring practice garments, but now I'm starting to get into like some color blocking. I love those stride shorts I made that have the yellow stripe. It's very retro and fun in my opinion, and I'm excited to do a lot more stuff like that moving forward. That does it for this video, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're feeling motivated if you want to sew your own activewear. Maybe if it wasn't even on your horizon, it's at least a little thought in your brain now. Let me know what you think of these patterns. Let me know if you sew your own activewear and where you source your fabric from if you do. I really like the Serge Fabrics stuff that I got, but I want to try other stuff and just keep exploring because obviously with a new type of sewing comes more opportunities to buy fabric, obviously. That does it, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.